Tell me, how would you describe the state of human rights in the Philippines today?
It's a disaster. We're talking about a train wreck that just never seems to slow down. What you're talking about is more and more deaths from the drug war, a government that doesn't care, a government that is actually manufacturing narratives to try to justify the unjustifiable. And finally, the Human Rights Council has called them out. I mean, it is not that easy to get on the agenda of the Human Rights Council. You have to have a sustained human rights crisis for that to happen, because there are human rights abuses taking place all over the world. But the reality is that the Philippines has been so bad during the period of President Duterte that now the Human Rights Council had no choice but to act.
And what happens if the Philippine government refuses to cooperate with the Human Rights Council?
Well, I mean, we've seen this in many other countries around the world. In the North Korea, in Myanmar. The situation is often that rights-abusing governments won't cooperate with UN investigators. But that has not proved a barrier to doing quality reports, very deep research efforts to uncover the human rights violations. So when you're talking about the Commission of Inquiry that was done on North Korea, or you're talking about the fact-finding mission that exposed what happened to the Rohingya in Myanmar. These were missions that had no access to the countries. All the work that the Human Rights Council has done on Syria, again, no access to the country. So it's not a really significant bar for President Duterte to say we're not going to let the UN investigators in. The UN investigators will find a way, and they'll get quality information that will be verifiable, and that will ultimately, I think, call into question the actions of the Duterte government.
What do we expect next in terms of trying to stop the impunity in the drug war?
Well, I think that there will be ongoing pressure from the Human Rights Council. I think that various governments from around the world that are concerned about the situation here will continue to make representations to the government. And of course, everybody's waiting to see what the International Criminal Court will do. There's no way that the Philippines is going to avoid having what has happened end up in the International Criminal Court. The idea that somehow that, we didn't put it in the Gazette, we didn't put the ratification in the Gazette, that doesn't matter, because ultimately the ratification was deposited with the UN system. And, whatever spin President Duterte and his people want to put on it, the reality is a legal matter, they are culpable. And if the prosecutor decides to move forward, there will be a case to answer.